Hi everybody, today we're going to be covering the next tutorial for Microsoft Access databases. We're looking at tutorial 4 today, which is creating forms and editing forms. Just a quick overview. What we're going to be covering in this tutorial is the front end, and what I mean by that is up until now we've been designing the databases that are going to be storing the information or the data. So that's essentially what we refer to as the back end. The front end is essentially the interaction with the program. So that's the end user's interaction. So for example, if once we've designed the database and it's been implemented and it's being used in the organization, the people that will be using the database to enter information in, the people that will be doing searches to find information. In this instance, we're going to be storing information on our students. So for example, the person who's responsible for enrolling students, and they'll be entering in new student details into the database, will essentially be interacting with the database through the front end. And that's what we're designing right now. So the whole point of this is to ensure that the way the program looks on the front end is it's user friendly, it's easy to understand, it's easy to use, rather than having something too complicated with a lot of information, a lot of times a lot of unnecessary information. What we're aiming to do is design the front page or the front end so that the information that needs to be entered in is quite self-explanatory, and it's organized chronologically in order, so that for example, the student's first name at the top, then surname, phone number, date of birth, address and whatnot, in a nice order. So that's what we're doing today. We're looking at the front end, which is called the form view in Access. So we'll get started on it. We'll launch into our software first. I've clicked onto the database that we've been using, and what we want to do is up the top here where it's got views. First things first, we want to click on the student table. So we want to design a form view for our student table. So that comes first. We click on that. Once our database is open, we'll then get our views over here. We go to create over here, and then we select form, which is here. Okay, so this is essentially what the front end or the front page of our database is going to look like. Okay, this is the details for the first student, or student identity number 1. And this is giving you the information that is being stored on this particular student. So essentially what we're going to do now is we're going to customize this to make it easier to use, and you can add in additional fields if you wanted to, yeah, so we're going to practice on this in the next few exercises. So the first thing is it's got here a few different examples on how to change the size of the fields. And you've got different types. You've got splitting and splitting vertically and splitting horizontally, and it's giving you a few examples of what to do there. So for example, here it's got click aside on the field and drag to change the width of the field. For example, post box does not need to be so big, so PO box doesn't need to be so big. So for example, this one here, I can click on that and I can go here and make it smaller, because the post office, the postcode never needs to be that large. But what it's done is, I'm going to undo that. We want to maintain the size of the remaining fields. So what we're going to do now is another way of making it smaller. Is I've clicked on that, and I'm going to go into arrange, and I'm going to split horizontally, and then that automatically makes it smaller, as you can see. And I can now go in and make it smaller once again. but at the same time I don't want these boxes to be smaller at this stage. So that's that. Another method of minimizing is if I click on that again and I go split vertically, it does this as well. So what it's actually doing is it's making the filled boxes smaller, and what that enables us to do is fit in more information in if required. So that's like 1 and 2. It's covering, so I'm giving you a few different examples on how to split the different fields. So I'm going to go through that now, and just according to where I feel it necessary, I'm going to make things smaller and larger. So we don't want to do that. So I'm going to now undo, because that's too small. I'll go to split vertical, so that worked well, and I'll split this vertical as well as horizontal, so that's fine. Same sort of thing for state. Make this smaller. Same thing for city. Split horizontally, split vertically. I might do the same thing over here. And split horizontally. Good. So I've just customized that. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, sorry, a little bit larger to fit in all that information, so that's good. Now we're going to practice moving the fields around, and according to the exercise it wants us to move the city right down to the bottom, and it wants us to put the postcode and state within the same area. So I'm going to see if I can customize that. So I'm going to drag this down here. So just by clicking on it and dragging down like that. I'm going to bring the payment method up here, and I'm going to bring this up a little bit higher. No. That. Just looking at the screenshots. So date of birth, phone number, street address, city. So date of birth looks like it needs to come across over to here. So I'm going to bring that over here. And then after phone number I've got street address. So that's fine. I'm going to shrink these ones as well. Like that. Same thing. I'm going to bring the street address up here. Like that. And I'm going to make these ones a little bit larger. Good. And now I'm going to bring across my city over here. Drag this across over here. It's Parramatta. Like that. And I'm going to shrink this. And I'm now going to bring the postcode And I'm going to do the same thing for my states. I'm going to highlight, click on that, hit shift, click on that, so it's highlighted both, and then I'm going to just grab that and bring it over here. That didn't quite fit nicely there, did it? And I'm going to abbreviate this. Actually, what I might do is make it even smaller in terms of the text. Over here I'm going to make it 10, and that will fit in, and now I can bring across postcode. So that's the sort of thing that this exercise is addressing, just showing you how to move things around and make things smaller and larger and change the font details and whatnot. So it's just more of a customization exercise. So I'm not going to spend any more time on this. I've given you a bit of a rundown as to how to move things around and so forth. Next we're going to be looking at changing the form title, as well as putting a date and a time, a running date and time on your database. So it wants us to change the name over here. So if I go to Layout View, so I'm going to go to View over here, Layout View, and then if I double click, seems to have worked, and I want to change it to Student Table 2013. I'm going to call it Student 1000, Student Table 2020, like that. And now I want to go to my view icon, which is up here somewhere. Go over to here, view again, layout view, I'm already there, date and time, which is over here, and I want to include the date as well as the time in this following formats, so that's fine. Click on OK, and then what that does is in this top right hand side you can see the date and time appearing now, and obviously that will change according to your computer's calendar. So I'm going to just tidy this up before I end the video so it's a bit more consistent. What I'm doing here is if I hit shift, if I click on that, hit shift, click on that, it highlights both, and I can actually now click on that and drag them both up together. So do the same thing, click on that box, shift, click on the next box, click in the middle, and then just drag that up, and then that will bring that to the top, and then I can further customize, but that's gone into the next section, so I don't want that. Undo that, I'm going to go again, shift, and bring that up to this point. Good. Okay, so I've customized that as much as I desire, and next we're going to be looking at the reporting side. Thanks for listening.